first townies that I ever met, and became friends with. And I still know a few of them today, which is kind of cool. And it's like almost 20 years later. And after working in a kitchen, did not want to work anywhere else. And so went from like Montana's, from there went to Applebee's because Montana's wouldn't let me be a server. Unfortunately, the only downside about kitchens, in my opinion, was the fact that like if you were good at your job, they wouldn't want to move you somewhere else. And so I was pretty good in the kitchen, and so they didn't want to move me up to server because I was good where I was. But I wanted to try and make tips and better money as a server, and thought I would be good at serving and communicating and that end of things. Unfortunately, I was not given the chance, so I ended up going to Applebee's to try and jumpstart that. And it was probably it's a very different clientele at Applebee's. It's kind of an older crowd, so it wouldn't have quite been what I was hoping for anyways. And then from Applebee's, I actually left there to work at Loch Lomond because I wanted a free membership and was super pumped about snowboarding. So I ended up working in the rental shop at Loch Lomond, but at the same time ended up going back to another kitchen while I was working there because I couldn't be away from the kitchen. It was just too fun of an atmosphere. There's just something about cooking. So I ended up going and working at Moxie's, which was a blast. I absolutely loved working at Moxie's. The food there was incredible. When I worked there, everything was made from scratch. There was people that came in at like 3 in the morning to do all the prep work, and all the soups, all the sauces, everything was made from scratch. So actually I learned a lot working at Moxie's. As far as chain restaurants go, it was a really cool restaurant to work at because everything was so homemade and just very high end in terms of a chain restaurant. It also helped that the staff was gorgeous. The serving staff there was unbelievable, and just a great place to work. And once again, still know a few people from working at Moxie's. And then from working there, also worked at the golf course in the kitchen where I met my wife. And I think that's about all the kitchens I worked at. But I just absolutely love cooking. And like to this day, I do the overwhelming majority of the cooking in my household. And like I said, I try and get my kids involved as much as I can. I do the grocery shopping and try and kind of prep stuff for the week. My wife makes lunches, and we kind of tag team a bunch of that type of stuff. And so Sunday has become my guaranteed day that I book off work. It's kind of like my get organized and get my life together day, because work's always so busy. And Saturdays I work every once in a while. I try not to, but you know, sometimes you just can't help it when you're self-employed. There's certain jobs that need to get done, and sometimes that's the only day that works. But the upside is I get to take as much time as I need off when my kids have activities and stuff, so it kind of all balances out. But anyways, back to Sunday. It's my prep day and my get everything done day, so I do grocery shopping, and then when I get home, I cut up all the berries and the fruit and wash it and prep it and put it in glass jars and put it in the fridge. I cook up a bunch of chicken breasts and get them ready for the week. I usually try and buy like a pre-cooked chicken or something for dinner on Sunday, and then we'll take the carcass and a bunch of the scrap veggies and stuff and make like a homemade chicken soup stock. I'll set out, I'll bake a bunch of garlic as well, roast a bunch of garlic as well, and then make fresh garlic butter and garlic and chive cream cheese for the week. Cut up salami, like Genoa salami, into chunks, and kind of prep a whole bunch of stuff for like snacks and everything for the girls for the week, so that when Stacy makes lunches, everything's good to go. And that's the game plan. And so yeah, I love cooking. And when I went to university, actually my mom made this cookbook for me when I went, and it was actually pretty funny because there was, I don't know if I can find it now, but there was a vegetable section in the cookbook, and she knows me all too well. It says veggies. Who eats those anyways? And so there were no recipes with veggies, but anyways, I went through the cookbook tonight with my daughter Georgia, and we ended up kind of getting rid of a bunch of older recipes and putting in a bunch that we've made recently. And so what I'm super excited about with this video stuff that I'm doing is I'm hoping to do some cooking stuff, and so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do that. And so yeah, who knows, hopefully I'll do one of those soon. I'm trying to convince my daughter to help me out with it, but she doesn't want to be on camera. And so I totally want to respect that and don't want her to be on if she doesn't want to be on. So I will probably do the first one by myself and just have her kind of help in the background. But the idea is I don't want it to be long and boring. I really like the ones that are like, it's just quick cuts of just like all the steps happening, and the video's like 45 to 90 seconds long. And yeah, and then the recipes in the description, because I have a super short attention span, and so I think that's what I'm going to do for the first one. And yeah, who knows, we'll see. So we'll try and pick one of these recipes, because on my TikTok account I save videos all the time, and I've got one labeled food, and I swore to myself, it's like, when I get 100 different videos in this account, I'm going to start doing these food videos. And I'm currently at something like 495. And so clearly I did not follow through on what I said I was going to do. And so I'm just looking food, 416. So 416 videos. I'm a little over 100. So yeah, we got to get rolling on that. So hopefully there will be a food one coming next week. That'll do. There's my reminder to do these stories, because I always forget on Sundays because I have hockey. And so that was my reminder to do it. I got it done. I did a Bitcoin one last week, and I didn't do one of these story ones, so I'm kind of 1 week behind. So I really got to double up on a couple stories to get them rolling out. But anyways, doesn't matter. No one's watching them anyways. This is just for fun. I'm just getting used to it and trying to be consistent with once a week putting out a video. So this one was a food one. I don't know what the next one's going to be. Putting out Bitcoin ones. Going to be putting out some food ones. Going to be putting out some education ones. Going to be putting out some, I don't remember. I had like 5 or 6 different things. But anyways, super excited. It's working out so far so good. And yeah, we'll see you next time. All right, this week's talk is about food. I'm calling this one Nourish Your Soul. Kind of lame, but whatever. I chapped it into grok. Couldn't figure anything out. I love food. I have forever. Anytime anyone says, "Are you hungry?" the answer is always yes. I love cooking. I love food. There's something really special about cooking and eating together as a group or a family. It's just awesome. And so my cooking journey started when I was a kid. I used to bake all the time in the kitchen with my mom. She would always, encourage all kinds of. She was more of the baker of the family, and my dad was more of the cook of the family. But they definitely took turns with it, and encouraged my brother and I to tag along. We even actually, when we were kids, had to prepare a meal a week for our family. And so before grocery day, we would have to come up with whatever our meal was, write out a grocery list. That way my parents could pick up the ingredients while they were out doing groceries. And then my brother or I were on tap to make that meal that week. And we ended up saving a bunch of the recipes because a bunch of them were really cool. And so I've tried to carry that tradition on with my kids. It hasn't been 100% successful. We've made a bunch of meals, but I keep trying to go back to it because I think it's really important. And so, like I said, my cooking journey started with my family. And then when I was in university, I had a mishap where basically I gave away a bunch of money to a bad dude and had to get a job. And so I ended up luckily getting a job at Montana's. And it really kicked off my passion for cooking again in a really big way. And so I started off in the dish pit at Montana's and worked my way up from the dish pit to fry cook, work in the deep fryers. And then from the deep fryers moved over to pans, which was actually a friggin' blast. It was like 8 or 12 spider burners and then stainless steel pans, and you were on tap for doing all the pasta dishes. And everything like that. And so there was a giant metal pot with I don't know if you remember the game Trivial Pursuit, but it was like the wedge-shaped Trivial Pursuit pieces, and there was like 6 of them with handles in this big pot. And so you would put, they'd order a chicken penne pasta, and so you'd grab 2 bags of pre-portioned pasta, put them into one of the wedges, and someone else would order linguine or fettuccine seafood, and so you'd grab another 2 bags and put it in a different little triangle, and then someone else would order something, and so you'd have all these pastas rewarming in this hot water while then you would start the pans and go. And it was a really cool station to work because you could be making up to 8 different pasta dishes, and you'd have to remember what was in each one, if any of them had modifications, and you had all your drawers of all your portioned food. And mastered that one. That was a blast. And then from there, ended up getting bumped over to appetizers next. And it was all like the salads and appetizers and cheese bread and a bunch of prep work stuff as well. And then from there, got the bump finally up to the master grill, and that was the big daddy job, basically. You were in charge of all the steaks and ribs and everything that was cooked on the grill. It was the most important food, I guess, because it was the most expensive. Like, if you screwed up a well-done steak, not only was it expensive, but like it takes 20 minutes to cook a well-done steak, or whatever it took. And so if you screwed that up, then you would have to start over, and that person's meal would then be 20 minutes later than it was supposed to be, and it would really kind of set things off. I never did Expo, which was just on the other side of the food line, which was all like the garnishes and kind of doing all the plating. That was not I would not have been very good at that job, but I loved working in the kitchen. And then on top of that, all of what the heck's going on there? Everything okay? No, it seems to be doing good. I don't know, something's going on with the camera. It was a great job to work, and I loved working in the kitchen. It was like, I wasn't from Thunder Bay, and so it really plugged me into kind of like a cool social network